Hello and welcome to the channel. We have another good fight to go through today. Sanji, the second strongest simp in the Big Three, going up against Chad, the chattiest guy in the Big Three. Today's combatants have a lot of parallels that we can talk about all day, like their different sense of style, or even their preferences and hobbies. But what will matter today is how good they can hit and take a hit. Funny thing is there are also parallels in the way they choose to fight. I mean, one only uses their legs to fight, while the other their hands primarily. So let us begin by looking at their stats to see who will win this matchup. Sanji is a member of one of the strongest pirate crew in the world of One Piece. For the most part of the series, he was also a member of the Monster Trio, though with the inclusion of a certain former warlord, his status as a member of the current Monster Trio is up for debate. But what's not up for debate is how impressive his physical stats are. Even before his awakening, he was capable of exchanging blows against Virgo, someone who was only brought down by an island level plus attack by law. And by the recent arcs, he would gain a massive boost in his attack potency to the point where he was capable of fighting Queen and King, the two strongest Yonko commanders within Kaido's crew. After his awakening, he would gain an exoskeleton that would make him cement his strength to be at least first Yonko commander level, but his durability would far surpass that level and enter into the domain of the four emperors of the sea. If you're not caught up with the series, it's hard for me to put into words how big of a jump it is for Sanji to go from barely being able to fight the likes of Virgo to him being a Yonko commander tier fighter with Yonko tier durability. The Yonko have two accepted calcs we can use to rate Sanji on. The first comes from Whitebird shaking the One Piece planet, which has been calculated to be around 33.6 exatons, or moon levels of attack potency. While the second comes from the final attack against Kaido, which has been calculated to be around 1.381 zetatons, or small planetary levels of AP. Both these calcs seem impressive until you find out they're based on a few assumptions. For instance, Whitebird's feat is based on the assumption that the world of One Piece is just as massive as Earth, which couldn't be further from the truth, since an average island like Arabasta has been calculated to be as massive as Australia, an entire continent here on Earth. As for the second feat, it's only calculated by underrating the speed of the punch to sub-relativistic while only taking the physical size of the arm and doesn't indulge in the narrative implications such as applying the multiplier's basic haki let alone infused armament, plus advanced Conqueror's haki would have on that punch. Using our own scaling chain from the narrative, it's easy to upgrade the stats to at least dwarf star levels of attack potency. And so Sanji's durability, which is at Yonko level, can be scaled up from island level before awakening to at least moon levels of attack potency to even at most dwarf star levels of attack potency using our scaling chain post-awakening. And his strength being in the first Yonko commander level would also see him gain a similar level of amp, but should be slightly downgraded to be between multi-continental to at most small planetary using our scaling chain. Next, we will go over his speed and also touch on any extra abilities that will be useful in this fight. When it comes to speed, Sanji has several moments where he was capable of reacting to light-based attacks. He has also fought multiple characters who have faster than light reaction speed, and post-awakening he was able to blitz Queen as well. To augment his speed, he has access to his observation haki, plus an advanced form of it that helps him instinctively react to people who are around his level of speed if need be. As for abilities, he can fly, regenerate from most injuries, and his fire can bypass any immediate form of durability. Aside from that, he also has a suit that grants him access to invisibility. Now let's go over Chad's stats to see if this is a mismatch. Chad is a gifted teenager who also happens to be the best friend of Kurosaki. Before becoming a Fullbringer, he was capable of reacting to the invisible hollows, and after gaining his Fullbring, he would train under Shihoin to the point of becoming a lieutenant-level combatant. This would easily put his attack potency to be around 38.9 for teratons, or about country level, as early as in the Soul Society arc. Following the events of the Huko Mundo arc, he would realize a new level of power and would defeat a Priver on Espada which would amp him to large country levels of attack potency. Chad would continue to grow in strength, and in the Fullbring arc he would surpass all my expectations and injure Kurosaki with his complete Fullbring and also defend an attack from him which would amp him to at least 443.5 petitons or multi-continental levels of attack potency. Unfortunately for him, he would lose to a Sternritter in the 1000-year Blood War arc, but would undergo some training under Urahara, which would help him react to Urias attacks, and he would even destroy some of them. This feat alone should seriously amp him to a higher level than before, since Uryu is capable of injuring Shikai Kurosaki with those same arrows he destroyed. According to a calc, this feat should upscale Chad to being capable of exerting 33.2625 exatons, or around moon levels of attack potency. Similar to Whitebird's low-barred moon level calc, this calc ignores the narrative implications of how far Uryu had upscaled himself after his meeting with Yhwach to the point he was capable of fighting Squad Zero members, or how much stronger Shikai Kurosaki was while being injured by those arrows. Uryu, being a successor of Yhwach, should naturally upscale him to at least the level of the elite Sternritters, who all should be at least relative to Gremmy, the self-proclaimed strongest Sternritter who could create galaxies in his fight against Zaraki. Naturally, Chad wouldn't scale to any of them in their prime, but his reaction time and attack potency should be at least upgraded to their base levels, which would see him exert between star to solar system levels of attack potency. Now on to his speed and abilities. As I stated before, Chad should naturally upscale to Urias base levels of speed in his prime for being capable of reacting to his attacks. An earlier and weaker version of him was capable of reacting and intercepting Kurosaki with his complete Fullbring, and even further back he should have been comparable to any lieutenants who are at least relativistic in their reaction speed. The regular quinces also fire arrows that have properties similar to light. This should realistically put the Sternritters at a higher level of combat speed, and the elites should naturally upscale from them. Hence, base Uryu should at least be massively faster than light, which would put Chad in that tier of speed at his prime. As for abilities, Chad can as well fly. Him being a Fullbring who's capable of hurting souls also gives him a high degree of durability negation, and he can resist the effects of a Quincy arrow, which normally erases souls. He also has a degree of durability against soul manipulation. On to the fight. The two are extremely powerful combatants, but Chad edges Sanji out in attack potency. Sanji's durability is superior to his offense as of the current arc, and while his durability is at least around dwarf star levels of attack potency using our scaling chain, this is still inferior to Chad's scaling of between star to solar system levels of attack potency. Even if we use the lowest calcs for both of them, Chad is still exerting old Whitebird's level of attack potency, with him being at moon level, while Sanji only scales there via his durability, while his offense is around multi-continental level, similar to Fullbring arc Chad's. As for speed, they both should be massively faster than light, but Sanji should naturally be more than capable of evading Chad due to his color of observation, giving him the advantage in this regard. When we compare their abilities, Chad should again have a slight advantage in terms of quality since he can resist soul erasure types of offense. Hence the fire from Sanji shouldn't be a problem, but his soul-based abilities should be capable of dealing an exponential amount of damage to Sanji, who can only heal regular injuries and not soul-based injuries. Maybe after Sanji survives against the Horse Demon Elder, who's rumored to have soul-based attacks, will he also have a chance at tanking an attack from Chad, which we know can damage souls. Due to a speed advantage, I believe Sanji would be extremely hard for Chad to take out, and due to his exoskeleton, he should theoretically be capable of tanking some of the physical damage Chad will manage to throw at him with the light touches that might land on him, at the expense of his soul, taking most of the damages. Despite the strength and abilities advantage Chad has on his side, it doesn't mean much if Sanji can simply evade them all during the fight. Hence, naturally, the fight will end up as a battle of attrition to see who can outlast the other long enough to catch their opponent at their weakest point to overwhelm them. Unfortunately for Chad, he doesn't have any endurance or stamina feats that are on the level of Sanji, whom even as a child could survive 85 days and nights on a 5-day food rationing without food for the rest of the 80 days, and without sleep during that 85-day and night streak. But if we use the higher scaling chain for both of them, Chad should easily kill Sanji even with a light touch if he should land, seeing as Sanji's durability is only in the dwarf star levels of attack potency, while a graze from Chad would still exert star to solar system levels of attack potency, which should overwhelm his exoskeleton. To conclude, if at any point any of Chad's punches should land, he will be the victor of the match. But if the fight ends up as a battle of attrition, Sanji will realistically just wait for a month or two and kill Chad with accumulated damage, or just wait until Chad runs out of energy and reverts back to his base level to defeat him easily. I hope you enjoyed my analysis of the fight and its outcome. If you agree with me, please hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't already. But if you have some criticism or something you'd love to add, please do so in the comment section where we can discuss further.